Hi guys and welcome back. This is part 19 of the Suzuki VS1400 Teardown. Tonight I'm going to show you how to split the cylinder away from the head of the engine. There's one thing that's holding these two pieces together and it's not what you think it is. It's not the bolts, although you will need to take them out. If you have taken them out and have tried to split the two pieces apart, you'll notice that there's something in the way, and that is the cam chain tensioner. We need to either remove or obstruct the cam chain tensioner in order to separate the two pieces. So that's what I'm going to show you tonight, how to do that. And yeah, maybe we'll even get to some cylinder honing. Let's see how the night goes. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so this is my rear cylinder, okay, and it's got the head attached to it still. Although the bolts have been removed, as you can see, all of the bolts have been removed, and these are particularly difficult to get off. I highly recommend an impact driver when removing these. Doing them by hand proved to be incredibly difficult. This was actually bought for me by a friend of mine in the States. Thank you, Rob. I know I've already said thank you 1,000 times, but Rob bought me this, and he's going to be starting up a YouTube channel real soon. So make sure you guys go and subscribe to that channel when it happens. There you go, Rob. Now you have to do it. No excuses. So in here we've got a few things going on. We've got your valve stems here and your valve springs. We can ignore that for the minute. All we want to do is split the cylinder away from the head. We've got these external bolts here that we need to remove. Sorry, this one here. And if you'll have one on the opposing side as well. So we want to remove these nuts. Okay, so both of those bolts have been removed on the exterior, and all of the internal bolts have also been removed. Now, if we try to separate this, like so, I'll try and show you how it will split apart to a degree. Zoom you in here. You see how we've got a small split now between the two here? Okay, but we won't be able to get much further than that. Okay, so this how-to really is meant for the front cylinder. However, this, what I'm demonstrating on, is the rear cylinder, and I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. Number one is because it's a lot easier for you guys to see the inside of this cylinder this head, as opposed to the front. There's a few more things going on in the front cylinder. So if you've never seen the inside of one of these cylinders before, the heads before, you'll notice that we have this spring here, this sort of weird looking device on the side of the head, and that is your cam chain tensioner. Now, in order for the front cylinder to be split, we have to compress this spring down as far as it will go, hold it in place while we split the two pieces apart. On the rear cylinder we don't have to do that. We can actually, on the rear cylinder, we can just undo these two torque bolts and we can take the tensioner out altogether, and that would allow us to split the head from the cylinder. But because obviously I've already done it on the front cylinder, I'm going to demonstrate it on the rear cylinder. This is a ratchet system, so let me give you an example of what it does. If I push down on the spring, you hear how it clicks back up into place, and that's the spring obviously pulling it back up to the top. Its purpose is to self-tighten against the cam chain as the cam chain is moving, and as the cam chain naturally stretches and settles, the tensioner adjusts to make sure that the engine continues to run properly. So the first thing we need to do is we need to release the ratchet, the stopper on the ratchet, and that is this piece here. You'll see that there's like a dip in it. It's just a little lever, a little spring-loaded lever that you can put pressure on like so, and that releases the ratchet. Next we can put some pressure on the actual tensioner itself. You'll notice that there's an arm down the bottom there. So we're going to put a bit of pressure on this lever, we're then going to push down on the bottom. You see how the spring has shrunk? And then we can take something like this. Let me show you. I'm going to be using this Torx bit, very fine Torx bit, and the reason I'm using this is because it's small enough, but it's also strong enough. And the tip of this is just small enough to fit where we need it to fit. So I'm manually compressing the spring, and you'll see there's a gap now down here. If I put this bit into that gap and come off of the spring, the tensioner stays locked in that position. Now I can remove this arm from my bit and the bit will stay in there. That then gives us, I'm going to just make sure it's in secure, yep. That then gives us the ability to continue to remove all of the nuts and bolts. There is a piece of casing behind the spring, you can just see it just there, that's sort of dipping down behind. I'm not sure if we'll actually be able to remove it, but now we should be able to start trying to take off the two parts. See how they're starting to come apart? And there you go. I'll get you a close-up in a moment. I'm going to continue to put pressure down on this lever, then I can remove my stopper and slowly release the pressure on that. You don't want to just let that fly up because you'll start doing some damage. Again, we could have removed these two bolts, but because I was demonstrating what you would have to do on the front cylinder, I went ahead and did it the way I had to do it on the front cylinder. So now you can get a much better idea as to how everything works. It's just a really simple system. This is your lock pin here that's locking into the teeth that are in between the spring. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you the spring. You might just be able to catch those teeth in there. Okay guys, so that's it. It can be quite a tricky task, this one, and if you can get to those Allen or torque bolts without having to do this, then I'd highly recommend it. Suzuki do provide a special tool that allows you to do this with a bit more ease, because you will need to use these tools again when we reassemble everything. So bear that in mind if you're planning on doing this. This isn't a one-time thing, you are going to have to do it again. So investing in that tool might be worth your while. Anyway guys, if you need any other information in regards to how to remove the top end of the engine off of the bike, then click up here and you'll be able to go and watch a full video on how to do that. Same with piston rings, same with pretty much everything. We are effectively now in the rebuild phase. This was kind of a bonus video, but we're getting very, very close now to only putting new parts back on the bike, which is quite exciting. Anyway guys, you take care of yourselves and I'll speak to you in part 20 maybe, or maybe part 2 of the rebuild. I don't know. I'll see you then. All the best.